Well, joining me now for more insight, we welcome in attorney and legal analyst Dina Doll, as well as Julia Manchester, national politics reporter from The Hill. Dina, Julia, thank you both for your time. Now, we just heard from the former president there in Manhattan. Let's listen first to what he had to say.
Thank you very much. Judge Engoron has done a terrible disservice to the state of New York. What he's done is terrible. Businesses are fleeing. You see that. We just released a statement on Truth. Businesses are fleeing and crime is flourishing all over the state. And what he's done is such a disservice and should never be allowed to happen again. New York State is being battered by his decision. So I greatly respect the decision of the appellate division, and I'll post either $175 billion in cash or bonds or security or whatever is necessary very quickly within the 10 days. And I thank the appellate division for acting quickly. But Judge Engoron is a disgrace to this country, and this should not be allowed to happen. Thank you very much. Would you accept foreign money to pay the bond?
So that was the former president earlier this morning, not that long ago, speaking out. Dina, I would like to start with you. What was the biggest reason this was reduced, and we're now seeing the former president have 10 more days?
They didn't. The appellate court doesn't give a reason in the order for why they reduce it. And they're not talking about the merits of the case whatsoever. This wasn't an actual appeal about the judgment in terms of, was it accurate against Donald Trump? It was really just about the bond. And Trump had said in his filing he didn't have the cash, and so he was having trouble securing it, which would have meant that the attorney general could have gone after his assets while he did the appeal. So they reduced the size of the bond, not quite to the $100 million he wanted, but still significantly less. They didn't say why, but that could have been the fact that going after real estate is really hard to undo, right? Let's say the attorney general had gone after the real estate, maybe even sold the real estate, and then Trump had won an appeal. How do you unwind that? It's not so easy. So that could have gone into their thinking to reduce it to something cash and not have to go after real estate in case he does win on appeal, and they would have to shift the money back.
And Julia, over to you now. I mean, we heard from the former president. We heard him, lashing out at the judge there, which is something we have heard time and time again. But is this, what we saw today, is this a win for Trump?
I think it could definitely be perceived as a win for now. It certainly gives him cover because, before that, Nichole, the former president was facing the, potential situation in which some of his most prized assets would be taken from him, including the potential of Trump Tower, even in Manhattan, something that is very important and, part of that, his brand, his image. So for now, this definitely gives him some cover because remember, while President Trump is juggling all of these legal cases, this is a former president who is running for president again. He is the presumptive nominee for the Republican nomination, and he has a brand to uphold. And if he is seen as being weak, as having this baggage, and he will still be seen as having this legal baggage, but, in the case that he doesn't have to pay all of, that same, $464 million, that definitely gives him cover going forward. And, on a personal note, I mean, we know that President Trump is someone who very much prioritizes brand and image. This is at least seen. I would imagine he sees this as cover, at least for now.
And Dina, back to you. Again, as you mentioned, we don't know why this was reduced, but we know this case is being appealed. The former president wanted this reduced down to 100. It's now 175. Is there any possibility this grace period itself could be extended beyond another 10 days?
I mean, he would have to appeal this to the highest court in New York if he didn't like this. But it doesn't sound like he's going to do that. It sounds like this is a win for him. If he gets to 10 days, maybe, and he still can't come up with a bond, possibly then he can do it. But the clock is ticking. I think he does not sound like he's planning to appeal this. So he does have the 10 days. Some part of the order, the stay, he still cannot get a loan in New York. The appellate court didn't reverse that part of the lower court like he liked, but him and his sons can be officers of the court. They did allow this in the order, but the independent monitor is also still in place. That part of the order they kept in place from the lower court as well. So a few different things in addition to the money going on in the order today.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.